Yo.
For me?
For murder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm from Seattle.
From Seattle.
But
Yes,
I was born
we are home.
You was born at where?
Myrtle.
We go again right here at Muddy Water and for another episode. A great episode I feel like is about to occur as we embark upon another flow to shed light.
Yep.
And take the mud out the water. back to what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? So we got an episode tonight where we bring in two familiar faces. One you've seen, both you've seen, and we wanted to shed light on the kind of toward a biblical sense of the proverb woman and man, and how it all relates to a lot of our prior episodes. And here it is. Muddy Water.
Something special about this thing from the beginning. Yeah, for sure. That's why I stuck with it. Telling the truth, there's a certain level of pride that comes with this. So we gon' finish strong, proud, and resilient. This is Muddy Water. We keep it moving through the muddy water. Swerving hard through the muddy water. With a cup full of muddy water. Jumping out the muddy water. Pumping out the muddy water. We build bricks with this muddy water. Put them filters down, this is raw and uncut. And ain't no chaser with this mud, just straight to the good. I say we going live, he say nigga what's up. I say we getting high, he say nigga roll up. Another topic of discussion, a conversation piece. Monumental black boom born out of necessity. Now put them cups up, make a toast and feed on this recipe. Wise words, this is poor righteous teaching. From a rich type feature, adding wealth to my creature.
Okay. Cool. Do I need to slide over or we good or as far as camera? Like,
No, you good right there. That's good. That's good.
Cool.
Right here.
As you can see, we're back with our guests. Let y'all explain who y'all are again. Once again, since you're back, introduce yourselves.
Okay. Well, I'm Deidre Davis, owner and creator of Incense and Teens. I specialize in all types of metaphysical sciences and tools and products, services to help assist the community with holistic healing and natural modalities.
Okay.
all right, and I'm pronounced Span. I'm your local historian, you heard? It is. All right.
So we got this topic today. Black Boom, what's up, man? We talking about the Proverbs 31. And
What that mean?
yeah, what does that mean?
Oh, you take the floor, and then we'll bounce off. Look at
that up. What that mean?
Yeah, let's start with the definition.
Oh, you can go with Google. What Wikipedia say?
Let's go to the definition.
Well, what's the verse? What's the big deal? Like
That's a great
what that mean?
question.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I had it up right here because I was looking at it earlier myself.
Okay.
Do you want me to read some of it, or you want to? Let's see what she got to say first.
So the question was,
verse?
what is
What is the
Proverbs
verse?
31?
Yeah.
It's a verse in the Bible, right? It's a verse in the Bible that explains a woman's virtue.
Okay.
You want me to read it?
So
Yes, please.
yeah,
It's long, so
It
we're gonna
is.
pick some points in it. It's a long chapter.
yeah.
It is a long chapter. So I might can get through the first 31st verses rather quickly.
Okay.
Or at least touch base on them. Okay, Proverbs 31:1. The sayings of King Lemuel and Oracle, his mother taught him. Wait a minute, it's not the verses. My bad.
So the question was, what is Proverbs 31? So I guess basically it's a son and a mother talking about what type of woman that the son would need, moving at the status that he is, and he's a king. So a mother is giving wisdom to her son to explain and how to move and what type of woman do you need in your circle because you are a king. So then the mother goes into this different characteristics as to what a quote-unquote Proverbs 30 woman is, because her son is a king, a literal king, not in today's time where we throw the word around, but a literal king. So she is explaining, because you're a king, you need this type of woman. So in a nutshell, that would be what Proverbs 31 is. The mother speaking to her son on what type of woman you need.
And I do have a couple of verses I'll follow up behind you with the conversation that she's having. It's Proverbs 31:10-31, the NLT version. Who can find a virtuous and capable wife? She is more precious than rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She finds wool and flax and busily spins it. She is like a merchant ship, bringing her food from afar. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household and plan the day's work for her servant girls. She goes to inspect a field and buys it. With her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She is energetic and strong and a hard worker. She makes sure her dealings are profitable. Her lamp burns late into the night. Her hands are busy spinning thread, her fingers twisting fiber. She extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. She has no fear of winter for her household, for everyone has warm clothes. She makes her own bedspreads. She dresses in fine linen and purple gowns. Her husband is well known at the city gates, where he sits with the other civic leaders. She makes belted linens, garments, and sashes to sell to the merchants.
Can I intervene for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that what we see in mainstream media?
I would say absolutely.
What do you mean? Is that what we see? You mean the image portrayed of a woman?
Or of that, of what has been read,
No.
or even on social media?
No. Not by a long shot.
Now, how does that? If you're not seeing that, then how would you know? Unless you even reading that and then coming back out into all this being this bombardment of, mainstream media and social media, you would you entertain that?
Would it entertain what she read?
Yeah, would people entertain that with being bombarded with so much?
No. the people that would entertain it are the people who fit the criteria to get that, and that's not mainstream media either. The people who would entertain something on mainstream media are people who already operate in that lane.
Well, let me ask you this question. Who is she speaking to? That letter. That's kind of like a letter, right? She's speaking. No, I'm saying what she's reading.
What I'm reading is the mother's explanation to her son
Exactly.
as to what qualities he needs to seek in a virtuous or Proverbs 31 woman. So I'm gonna just finish up. It's almost through because I think this is where you'll be able to recognize some of the difference in a regular woman or a Proverbs woman. She makes belted linen garments and sashes to sell to the merchants. She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. When she speaks, her words are wise, and she gives instructions with kindness. She carefully watches everything in her household and suffers nothing from laziness. Her children stand and bless her. So, to me, the author is giving you insight onto what it is to look for. You're not going to see a virtuous woman just being lazy and not accomplishing things. She's just not going to be just submitting in the house to her husband, only maintaining just the household. Because it clearly, if we're going to follow what the scriptures say and look at that as a baseline for what a virtuous woman is, then it clearly says that she is out in the community doing her own work. She is building. She is making decisions. She is making things happen for her family. She extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. She has no fear for winter for her household because she's already in her God state of mind that she's going to be provided for, so there's no need to worry. She is more precious than ruby. She adds worth to whatever relationship she's in, value. She is energetic and a strong and hard worker. These are things that you'll physically be able to see. Just like with the virtual man, there will be physical attributes or actions that you can see to recognize that he's virtuous.
So does it pertain more to a person's character, or how did I say that earlier? Does it pertain more to a person's character, or what did I say?
Yeah, character.
Or what they see? Is that what I said? Yeah, something like that. Does it pertain more to their character?
Yeah, who they are. Character.
I think it's character. So I wrote down 7 characteristics of a Proverbs 31 woman, right? One of them is dignity. Proverbs 31 and 10, if we're going to use the Bible as a reference. A wife is of noble character. And who can find one? The second characteristic is patience. Proverbs 31, 13, and 16. The third one is diligence. She sets about her work vigorously. She knows her purpose. That's Proverbs 31 and 17. Then you have generosity. You have courage. You have wisdom. You have devotion. So these are just 7 characteristics of a virtuous woman. And I don't even think it just applies to being a woman. I think it applies to being a virtuous person.
So it's a virtuous man.
I'm glad you asked.
Falling right into it, huh? Okay.
Okay, so definitely. So, okay. So definitely a virtuous man. I couldn't really find any scripture based calling a man virtuous. I couldn't for myself. But I seen righteous man. I seen
What's the
strong
equivalent?
man. I think virtuous and righteous would probably be about the equivalent. I think virtuous is just the older word that we use. To me, righteous would be something to probably equate to the virtuosity. But that's what I was saying earlier. If we just focused on being virtuous people, then the problem would be solved. It wouldn't have to be so gender specific. But that's what we're talking about, the individualism and wanting to even be virtuous. Some people don't care to be virtuous. What I have on the men is that
Is that a new thing or something? And you said some people don't want to be virtuous.
some people want to be robbers and thieves and killers and hoodlums.
So it's just always been like that.
It's probably going to always be like
Ain't
that.
nothing new under the sun.
Being virtuous is something that you have to inspire to be, that you have to work to be. I don't think that through trauma and upbringing, any of us could be virtuous without putting in effort. There's too much madness going on in the world.
What you think, B? Like,
I would say the original question was like, is it the same thing between virtuous and righteousness?
nah, what's a virtuous man?
Well, a virtuous man is the one that's talking in that scripture. So he's a virtuous man getting wisdom from his mother. So, a virtuous man, well, in context of the scripture, like she said earlier, it was a king. It says King Lemuel. So that we know this is a king. So his mother is instructing him what type of woman you need to deal because you are a king. And whether it was society back then or now, everyone's not fit to be a king. Nor is everybody fit to be a queen. So when we deal with those type of positions that typically deal with bloodlines, typically queens and kings it runs in the family. Typically, you know, we've seen in history how people are married themselves into things, but the scripture's not talking about that. This is King Lemuel, which translates to King Solomon. So we are talking about King Solomon and his mother. His mother is instructing him, because you are a king, you need this type of woman. His mother, according to history, would be Bathsheba. So this is Queen Bathsheba talking to her son, King Solomon, on, because you're a king, you need this type of woman to help you be a great king and maintain our status, so to speak. So what I would say in society, a lot of people make babies or marry people that don't match their energy. So you might come from a lineage of kingdomship or queendomship, but because of lack of knowledge on yourself or your past traumas, as the sister said, allows you to make babies, which is a vital thing with someone. What babies continue your lineage. You people in the last few years, probably the last 50 years to 75 years, make babies with people who don't match their characteristics of their bloodline. Like some people come from royalty and make babies with peasants. And that's not disrespect to nobody, but we watch movies like we watch shows like Game of Thrones, movies like Lord of the Rings, and they show you in these things that is statuses of people, even though it's fantasy. But we watch these things and we'll go binge watching on these things so we could kind of see in those shows and movies statuses of people, and there's no problem. But in the reality, that's how things were, and really to this day it still is. So you would have someone who come from royalty marry somebody who is not of royalty, and then they wonder why their children or even their relationship never mesh. Y'all don't match each other. You know, you come from a king and you married a blacksmith, and there's nothing wrong with blacksmiths, by the way, but everybody has to play their role. You know, they tend to say in today's society, your net worth is your network. That is that concept. If you want to be a millionaire, surround yourself with millionaires. If you're a millionaire, why would you surround yourself with somebody who makes $10 an hour? Well, the level of conversation and each other pulling each other up is not on the same level. If anything, they trying to come up to yours, so they gonna soak all your shit up. But what did you learn from them? They don't have nothing of value to give you because they just trying to be like, I want to be like you. The term today also is never be the smartest one in the room. It's that same concept. So if you are always giving and giving and giving, kings and queens, they have to be relatable to the people. As the sister mentioned earlier, got to be relatable to the people, but understand there's a cutoff point. So I could take your information and take it back to who I counsel with, whether it's people or entities and spirit or whatever the case is, to come back and make myself and the people better. That is the job of a king and queen because they run in a kingdom. So I would say a lot of people might come from royal bloodlines and have lost the way and have made babies and made generations of incompetent people. Disconnected. Exactly. Hopefully that made somewhat of a sense. So to the Proverbs 31 thing, if there's a mother talking to her son, off the rip we see lineage because he's a king. So in order to be a king, you have to be born into that. So we're already dealing with a lineage of royalty. And because the mother wants to protect that, she's saying, son, this is the type of woman you need. Because obviously he's a king. He got exposure to all type of women who is willing to do whatever to get with him. But she like, nah, I need to maintain my grandchildren or great-great-grands. This is how you need to move. So in essence, that is what Proverbs 31 is. It's the wisdom of the mother, because in these same Proverbs, wisdom is described as a feminine noun anyway. From Proverbs 1 to 31, wisdom is feminine. So he's listening to the wisdom of his mother, and he's just writing it down for us to see today. Because the bloodline ain't changed. It's just been tainted, or the knowledge have been tucked away, but the bloodline didn't disappear.
But I want to get back to the proverb thing, and we heard it was all good things, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the Proverbs woman.
Oh, great things.
So let's go back to the righteous part you was talking about.
Most men can't handle what she just read.
We talking about
a woman like that.
Yeah.
Most men in our society today cannot deal with that, because to maintain that, you have to be of the same caliber. If she got to do all of this stuff, one thing in those scripture that she read was she not just known in her household, she's known in the community. Another part of the Proverbs 31 scripture, it says that her husband is known in the gates of the community because of her works. So the husband can't be no lame ass nigga.
Right.
How you doing all this and you a lame nigga sleeping on the couch, and she doing
all the work,
everything. She do everything. People know her in the community because she this type of woman. She get her own money and bring money to the house. So the phrase is, I bring home the bacon, she fry it. She bring her own bacon too. She frying both y'all bacon. You might be to the point where your business ties you as a man, because I'm a man. You got so much going on, you can just bring in the money. You don't got time to worry about what bill got to be paid, because you just bringing in the money. This type of woman gets her own bag and remembers to keep the household afloat. So she's making sure the bills is paid. I come from a stock of older men who they don't mind giving their wife the check because they out here getting all the money. They don't need the stress of what bill is this. That don't make them no less man. They just like, baby, I'm gonna give you the money, you pay the bills, you make sure this is done, that's done. I'm gonna keep getting to the bag. So this woman gets her own bag, plus maintains the bag he brings to the table, make sure the house is good, and still go out and represent in the community. Because if that is a wife, then now she got his name. So however she move could bless or mess his name up. Because the wife tends to take the name of the man in modern society. So this is a woman who was wearing many hats. So that woman ain't deserved for most of the men that we have in our community today. There's men in our community that move like that, but it's not pushed. Most men trying to find a come up. So they'll tend to leave even their race to find a quick, easy come up because they ain't got to do much work. This woman doing a lot of work. But if you read that scripture from the top of Proverbs 31 to the end of it, it's giving you glimpses of what type of man she got. Because it says her husband is also known in the community. So he is somebody who has some clout to him too. He does what he has to do too. So she's not making all these moves and the man not matching that energy. It's like yin and yang. So I would say the Proverbs 31 woman would not match the righteous man that she mentioned earlier. Society today makes sure that it's an imbalance. The woman is overbearing and the man is underbearing. He's not carrying his load to make her load easier, and the vice versa is she is carrying too much weight to where if you're a man, I could do your job too. The feminist thing, the feminist movement, and all these male chauvinist movements, they are stepping on each other's toes to where there's no balance. See, yin and yang are two opposite things that attract each other. That the society is built to where if a man could do it, I could do it. But it's not supposed to be like that. We should supplement each other. So if you got a virtuous woman, you need to be matching what she doing. Because she married you, so she probably got your last name. Even if she kept her family name, she got a hyphen, whatever your name is. So she got to carry her name on top of yours. You just a man, you just carrying your name. So if I'm going to use me, my last name is Spand. So when I got married, I didn't take on another name. My wife married me and took on my name and got to maintain hers. Off the rip, that's a virtuous woman supposed to do both. Don't lose who you were before you met me. Enhance your family and mine. And because you enhancing mine, I'm a damn sure make sure your family last name goes.
So how would that look? How do you feel it would look if that combination happened?
That's why kings and queens don't mess with peasants. Marriages back then, I'm not saying we should do this now, but because I got daughters and I got sons, so pick and choose how you want. But marriages were ordained from when they 2-3 years old. A king and queen of this kingdom and a king and queen of that kingdom already gonna combine their children and teach them from a child how to move as a king if they have a son. So he gonna be a prince and he's gonna maintain how to move like that till he's old enough to be a king.
Right.
Same on the female side. The queen, the royalty of that family, not queen, king and queen of the princess. they're going to train her how to be a princess into a queen, because they on the same caliber of status. So they have to be able to handle their problems, maintain the bloodline, and deal with the problems of their citizens. That does not apply to everybody.
Shoot. I know this might be out. I'm just intrigued and interested in asking this question. Would she be the queen of the same kingdom or another kingdom?
So typically, this is how war brings about in most cases. You'll have two different nations. You'll have two different nations. Both nations are, let's say they're both wealthy nations, but there's some kind of conflict. They might live close to each other, but maybe your wealth encroaches on the wealth of the other nation. Like you might have a crop that might grow a few yards or whatever over. So you stepping on territory that's not yours. So a lot of times in treaties, instead of us fighting each other, I have a son. So he's my prince. You have a daughter, that's your princess. We'll build a treaty through the children to maintain the wealth of the families. War is always about wealth. So maintain my wealth and you maintain yours, and we don't gotta kill each other. Let's intertwine the families through marriage. I'm gonna raise my prince. You gonna raise your princess.
It's really like that.
Yes. And that never stopped. It's just
Arranged
the only thing that changed was
really like
the
that.
families who used to be in those seats. That's what changed. But the status of it never changed. So I would rather build with you and say, my son gonna marry your daughter because I have a prince, you have a princess. Let's unite the kingdoms and let's get money together. Because money ties to wealth, and wealth maintains generations. So when we talking Bible, we dealing with Israel for the most part, in Rome. So you got Israel had two split kingdoms, north and south. A lot of wars were fought because these are cousins basically fighting each other over wealth. One king or one queen didn't agree with what the other king or queen did in the other nation. And it's always money in time, always. Just like the stuff we're hearing today with Israel and all, it's always money ties.
How you feel about that?
Black, bro.
What?
A man not being ready for a woman like that.
Before she answer that, let me elaborate, because you just said your question. That don't mean the man don't come from that, or the woman. They just haven't, because we have been led astray from that type of knowledge. It could be in his DNA, but he don't know it, or she don't know it. So I wanted to put that out before she answered her question. Some people come from that virtuous woman type of living, or righteous man or virtuous man type of living. Some lost the way. Some people are not supposed to be that because it's not in their blood. Some people it's in their blood, they don't know it. All right, so I wanted to put that out there at this point. So I wanted to say that before she elaborated.
I like that, because that lets you know that if you do have a virtuous woman, because she realizes first that she's virtuous. And you hear a lot that a woman can see things in their mate or in a man that he doesn't recognize in himself. So the virtuous, vice versa. The virtuous person will speak life into the person that don't realize that they virtuous. They can see it. They got some of the qualities. They just have been so far removed from realizing that they is really connected to God. You know what I'm saying? And their virtuousness or righteousness that they just don't know. So they have to be reminded. And sometimes you can tell them and it works and they activate and they be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna step into my God power or my God body, whatever they want to call that power, once they realize that they are connected to it. And then they can activate and they can carry themselves as a virtuous person, but some people just don't know it. I used to go to church, and back in the day, this is a funny story right quick. I used to be like, how you doing today, woman of God? And I'd be like, what? Y'all must not have seen me last night. And that's just me being real, because I'm a human.
Facts.
For real. Drunk in the club, you know what I'm saying? Stumbling to get in the car, fighting like
That
hell.
still don't
when I
mean you
got
ain't a woman
home.
of God, though.
But they had to keep telling me that before I realized it. 10 years later, I realized, I was like, damn, I am a woman of God. Not only am I a woman of God, I'm directly connected to God.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
And I know that.
That's the difference.
That's the difference. I didn't know that before. I thought they were just saying something. But yeah. So you have to even realize that there's a connection there.
How the whole feather thing fit with the whole proverb woman thing?
Oh no, this is just me representing my indigenous self.
Like, how would that work with the whole...
Peace.
I mean, to me, the feather represents, we was talking last week about me keeping my heart as light as a feather.
As far as the proverb woman thing, how that work? Like, how would that relate?
Us being light. The Proverbs woman being light. It says that she doesn't worry. She doesn't carry a lot of stress. That she moves confidently knowing who she is.
You said indigenous, like, what that mean?
My indigenous connections. Me representing
Indigenous
my
to
Cherokee.
Oh.
My Cherokee heritage. My family lineage. I have a lot of family born and raised here. My family are educators
Do you
and
mean
artists.
here as in Gastonia?
North Carolina, Gastonia, North Carolina, a lot of teachers, artists. My uncle, if you ever been past the Shield Museum, my uncles actually did the mural that's on the side of the Shield Museum. So they have artwork all over the world, but it's just
You said
representation.
that so
of
like,
me.
yeah, they got artwork all over the world. Like, man, okay.
Because that was something that I didn't realize when you're talking about building a kingdom and a queendom. That was another thing that made me realize that I'm a queen. Because my family's lineage ain't nothing, short of, to me, miraculous.
What's the lineage?
That's a heavy word.
lineage?
I mean, if you don't mind
Miraculous.
taking it to it,
If we look at the challenges
That's a heavy word.
it is. If we look at the challenges that people of color, and I'm not going to specify black, Indian, anything, because a lot of us just don't know. We end up coming into who we are or realizing who we are. But my family have always been educators and entrepreneurs, had their own businesses.
You said your family have always.
Has always, from my recollection.
See, the key word is always. When you're dealing with Proverbs 31, the mother talking to the son, they got to maintain something they already been had. Always is key. She knows that. There's a mother talking to King Lemuel in Proverbs 31, which is Solomon. She want to maintain past, present, and future. So just keep an eye on that. She's saying always new. So she hearing people from before her telling about her, who she is. So when she make future moves, it represent them. Past, present, future.
My connections to my ancestors.
like people from
Known
the
and
Bible?
unknown, huh?
What you mean, like people from the Bible?
My immediate ancestors,
Yeah.
the ones that known and unknown, because a lot of my ancestors from thousands or hundreds of years ago, I don't know them. But the ones that I do know, they left their impact. They did teach me about my lineage. They did tell me that we were kings and queens. They did tell me that we were royalty. I didn't hear a lot of those narratives about my people being slaves and my grandma and grandpa, they own beauty shops and stores and so I mean, we can get into a whole nother topic around that right there.
is,
But like I
yeah.
said,
That's interesting.
but when I was studying last night, me studying this topic for the first time, really being a virtuous woman, what is a virtuous man, what is being a virtuous person, it lets me know that she did know her lineage. And again, if you don't know that you come from royalty, then you might just think that you're supposed to be a peasant because that's all you've been exposed to. It's respectfully, no disrespect, but how would you know if you never witnessed it? To me, it's something that's inside of you. It's in your DNA. It's going to be something that's inside of you that's searching to get back to what, to me, is rightfully yours, that kingdom that was started, or that queendom that was started years ago that never became into fruition because of whatever traumas or whatever energy blockages that has stopped our ancestors in the past.
Damn.
It's deep.
You mean like in the Bible?
I mean, if we want to go to the Bible, but even before the Bible,
Who was them people he was talking about? Solomon.
I'm not a biblical
You
scholar.
talking about the
so-
Proverbs 31? He talking about that's his mother talking to him.
Yeah, right.
How to act.
Yeah. Where they at when they talking about it?
What do you mean where they at?
Like where they
Like
from?
the physical location?
Yeah. Like where's he at?
He's one of the kings of Israel, Judah, all other places.
Where?
Where? I mean, my shirt say Smithsonian, so Smithsonian has the answers to that.
And why is it a question of where and not why?
Because where and why probably is the same thing, interchangeably.
Where you getting this from?
I mean, it's
Yeah,
not-
because was your question about
Yeah,
like where are
'cause
these
this
virtuous
guy,
people?
yeah.
Where are these virtuous
Where's
people
this
at?
coming from?
Is that where you're digging? Like where are these virtuous people at? Where are they created at? I think it's me, virtuosity and wanting to be virtuous. That's something that's created from the spirit. That's just something that you're gonna have to.
where
learn.
would you say the most spiritual people you ever came across? Where are they at? But don't use skin color. Where the most spiritual people you ever met? Where would you say you've met them at?
The most spiritual people I have ever met.
Well, spiritual. I don't want to say spiritual because people throw that word around. That in that you are a person who is in tune with yourself,
Spirited.
not and knowing your lineage. So people who have like-minded intuition or energy, where have you met them at mostly? Skin color may could play into that, but my question isn't based on skin color. Because people that look like me and you are all over the world, but that don't mean
Usually when I meet people like that, it's at some type of event or something, being like a retreat or something.
You do a
like
lot of
that.
events outside of America?
No. So not that. I have never been outside of the United States.
Oh, well, that answers my question for her. Y'all do with that as you will. And she seems pretty goddamn in tune with herself.
Yeah, spiritual. What that even mean?
I mean, it don't mean nothing because there's a ton of spirits. It's like luck. People say, I want to be lucky, but people forget that there's bad luck. So if you're lucky, you have to watch how you move to maintain good luck. Because luck isn't a respect nor person. The Bible speaks about being the spirit being a respect nor person. You can attract luck, but you might be a person always bringing bad shit your way. That don't mean you ain't lucky. You just keep attracting bad luck.
Bad.
Like Christians say, I'm blessed and highly favored, but blessed technically mean be less. How you being less and highly favored in the same sentence? Lucky, now Christians don't like that word because that deal with all this old spooky shit. But lucky is two-sided, just like we have two-sided coins, heads and tails. You could be extremely lucky and have a bad winning streak. You could be extremely lucky and have nothing but good shit happen to you. And the good shit could be as simple as, man, I dropped my phone while driving. I looked up and I just missed that car. A bad luck person would have hit that car and be dead or paralyzed. So when people use these words, they don't fully understand how the universe works. The universe don't care about your skin color or nothing. It's about what you put out there and the energy you put out. So you could be a lucky person and just only have bad luck. So if you're saying, why would I play, if you at your job and they have a raffle, I ain't gonna play that shit. I know I ain't gonna win because I never win. You right, because you got bad luck. You are lucky as fuck on the bad side of things.
And never win.
And never win. So you right, you won't win. So that's how the universe don't care about skin tones or none of that. It cares about what you sow and what you reap. Your words are powerful. So I'm not going to get into the whole Christian thing and all that, but even Jesus said you have the ability to choose life and death. He said, or she, or whoever you want to look at it, choose life. He's like, nah, nigga, choose life. You could choose death, but nah, you probably better off choosing life. Most people try to choose the short end of the stick without even mentally thinking about it, because they assume they just not going to get it. So luck is not respect of person. That's the universe kicking in. It's a pendulum weighing, and it's always going to be balanced. If you speak negativity upon your life, you're going to get that shit and always be wondering why shit don't go well in your life. A lot of times you cause it with your words and your thoughts. So when you're saying spiritual, everybody's spiritual, because spirit just means breath. So even people who are 100% human have breath, but sometimes they might look more lucky because they watching their words, or they might even take it to the extent to marry into your shit because you don't know what you come from, and they gonna benefit off your shit.
So why you say her not ever going out of the States?
Because
is your answer.
The reason why I asked that is because, let me see how I can say that. We as individuals tend to reach out to people, whether they local or international or national, that are like-minded. With social media today, it's easy to be on your phone and meet more like-minded individuals, and they might live in a whole nother time zone. I'm not talking about 2-hour difference. I'm talking about it's 8:00 p.m. where you at, and it's 10:00 a.m. where they at. So we talking about way on the other side of the world.
So what's your answer to that?
What you mean? Like, my question to her was, have you met people?
Right. What's your answer to that?
Most of the people I met that match the wavelength I'm on tend to be where not in the state I live, but on the landmass I live, which is America. I ain't met an African yet that can relate to me, and I know a lot of Africans. And the reason why I say that is because we grow up in a society where somebody that look like me in America, they tell me I'm from over there, but I can't relate to none of them.
Why? Because of the language barrier, or just?
No, because they speak in English to me.
Okay.
We don't relate. The energy is not matching. If anything, they are energy whores. They're trying to learn from me because I'm from here. Is that the same thing
that maybe you dealt with?
I think that's the kind of the same thing I've been experiencing. Yeah, because I've been experiencing. I don't. It doesn't resonate with me that I'm from a different country, or a lot of the practices that country uses as far as healing modalities and things like that I'm attuned to, it doesn't resonate with me the way a more Indian culture and their ways of
She said it, not me.
living does. And that's just me. I haven't, if I know we're not talking about culture really, but I can't say that I've even seen
we are talking
anyone.
about culture.
I'm not
understand
wanting to
what
challenge
culture, though.
the Africans and the Chinese. And I'm just saying we talking about what resonates, what has been resonating, what resonates with me, and it's more along of the I guess Indian type culture. Even with Buddha, even with the Buddhists, I really like Buddha because Buddha teaches you to look at yourself first, to go in first, and I think that's what more of us need to do so we really can connect with our truest, highest selves. We might not ever be able
What kind
to
of word is
pinpoint-
Proverbs?
What kind of word is Proverbs?
Like the definition of it?
No.
What do you mean? What kind of word?
Etymology.
Sayings.
Sayings. Okay.
Old sayings.
Where?
Technically, it would say native sayings, technically, in the etymology, because you asked. It says old native sayings.
Old native.
According to etymonline.com.
What natives?
I mean, you can be native to it, wherever, but you just asked, what does it mean? It said old native sayings. So stuff you would hear your grandparents and them say. That would be an old word, because it was...
Or what did it derive from? What did the word proverb derive from?
It said, I think it said either 13th or 14th century Old English. And the Bible was written in Old English when it was first published.
English as in England, or
Old English.
as in England, or
I mean, do people in England speak Old English
Y'all
or
got
New
me on my
English?
Raleigh
What
shit
do they
right now.
speak? Do people in England speak Old or New English?
that I don't know.
What does English derive from?
England,
You would think that,
right?
but do they speak proper English or do we speak improper English? So
Or
my
broken
question
English,
to
I mean-
the co-host, because that was a great question. So it seems like everybody
think?
around me is this complexion or some sort of this complexion. So let's deal with slavery in America. Why did the slaves speak English when most of the colonists were Spanish? Why we don't speak Spanish? All those people coming over here was from Spain. Columbus and all of them were Spanish. What English conquistador, well, conquistador is a Spanish word. What English colonists do we know of that made all the slaves speak English? But we were slaves in America, but we speak English. But all the people coming over here getting slaves were Spanish. So, my
What I'm
question
saying-
was,
let
where
me-
does English derive from?
Right.
So, English, according to the Oxford Dictionary,
We're gonna have to.
English
You
comes
either
from...
gonna have to tell us, or we're gonna have to look it
I'm
up.
telling you, I'm gonna tell you. So English derives from Semitic, Shem in the Bible, that's Noah's son. English is a Semitic language. So history teaches that the Moors taught all these people in Europe how to act as a civilized person, you know, take baths, math, all the things that's in society. That's what they give credit to the Moors for, to teaching other Europeans who thought a cow, they should sleep with a cow and all that stuff. Cool, great for them. The issue with American people is we have slavery here that they tell us, right? But all the people coming over here getting slaves or speaking Spanish, but the number one language is English. We don't hear about no English colonists coming over here. But I just said English is a Semitic language. So Shemitic means Shem. That comes from Shem, which is Noah's son. So how do we speak a
Do
Shemitic?
any other languages come from Shem?
Quite a few languages come from
What's some
Noah's
other Semitic
lineage.
languages?
So you will have English, you have Welsh, which would be French. Welsh and French is the same. So for my people that's from like the Low Country, Charleston areas, Beaufort, you got a lot of old French churches there. Huguenot people, that's all French people, or Welsh speaking people, that's French. But all of these people learn from Indians. As she said, Indian. When I mean Indian, I mean American Indian. I don't mean the ones over there in India. I don't mean those people. So if I'm saying the slaves in America that look like me and her, we were slaves in America is what they teach us. But we were colonized by mostly Spanish people. Why we don't speak Spanish as our first language? Because they always say the slaves learned from their colonizing. If you learn how to read and write, it was what the master showed you. Then why we don't know Spanish if everybody coming over here was Spanish? Columbus and all of them is Spanish. Why is Spanish not the number one language? English is the number one language in the world because it's the biggest trading language. Indians been trading long before Columbus and them coming over here. Why is the number one language English? And it's a Shemitic language, and scholars say the descendants of Shem is in America.
America.
So Solomon is a Israelite king, so he's ruling over Israelite people, which the scholars say the remnants of them is in America.
So is that word Proverbs
Proverb just means
an
old
American
sayings.
word, or
It's an English word,
is
which
it
could
English?
still be an
okay,
American
English
word.
word. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's my
I know what you was doing. Yeah.
okay.
They say we speak improper English, but check this out. Jamaicans speak a language called patois. So if you're familiar with Jamaicans, they will call that broken English.
Patois.
Patois. So
What that
in the
mean?
Latino side of things,
What that mean?
patois is the language that they speak in Jamaica.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's a
okay.
mixture of English and the native tongue of Jamaica.
Right.
So it's a mixture. So on the Latino side of things, like you have your Dominicans, which is Dominican Republic. They speak broken. They don't speak Spanish like what a Mexican would, or a Salvadorian, or all of them would speak. They call that broken Spanish. So it's a mixture of the native land, which would be Haiti and Dominican Republic, with a little bit of English mixed in. So Dominican Spanish isn't like nobody else Spanish. Jamaican language, patois, is a mixture of the native tongue of the land mixed with English. But all we learned about was Spanish people coming over here, snatching people up, taking slaves. At some point, we should be speaking Spanish more than English.
Does this make any sense to you?
He just made me have an aha moment because I had never even thought about it. But that's what we've been taught. That everyone that came to the Americans were Spanish speaking.
Spanish,
But yet we
conquistadors.
don't speak Spanish as a first or second language.
Right. People will pay Rosetta Stone to learn Spanish, as opposed to us. We should just know it because we come from slavery and our master spoke. We spoke what our master taught us from what we were taught, because we were not allowed to read and write. And so when it comes to the Bible, we would not have read Proverbs 31. We would have read, slave, obey your master.
Yeah. They should have-
In English, though. not Spanish, but everybody coming over here taking shit was French or English. I mean, French or Spanish. Why we don't speak Spanish or French? And I'm in the South, by the way, where most of the slavery was at. So, yeah. So, Proverbs would be an English word, which technically be a Shemitic word, which technically would be an American Indian word, because the American Indians speak Shemitic.
So they was talking about American people in Proverbs 31?
American kings and queens, not American people. It's two different things. Within American people, you have low-class citizens. You're not talking about them. Proverbs 31 strictly deals with kings and queens. Everybody not fit for that. By the way, this shit tastes like apple pie. This shit is amazing. American apple pie.
Y'all, please like, share, and follow right here on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe on Instagram at Muddy Water. So you saying Robert, they was talking about Indians in Proverbs.
A certain type of Indian.
Right. Well, the kings.
Too
and
many
queens.
chief, no Indians.
Right.
Everybody ain't meant to
They
be
were
a
talking
chief.
about the kings and queens. So, dang, I hate to take it to another.
I mean, it's supposed to tie, right? Everything we speak about supposed to come back into fruition some kind of way.
Is that one of the? Would you say that's one of the most important chapters in the Bible? Proverbs.
You piggyback on what you said.
I told you my dad was a preacher, so I'm PK.
Okay.
So he always taught me if you want to gain any knowledge, wisdom, to read Proverbs. My spiritual people, believe deeply in Psalms.
This sounds, that's Old Testament stuff.
Yeah. So,
You said the Bible, right? But she only talking about Old Testament stuff. Okay. I was just seeing if we was on the same page. Okay. My bad. It was a quick little side question. Trying to follow because she's a pastor's kid.
yeah.
But they only giving them Old Testament references. From what I heard so far.
Yeah, but you asked, do I think that you was asking, do I think the virtuous woman aligned
Well,
with
the Proverbs.
the proverb?
Proverbs, or what would you say is the most important chapter in the Bible? One of the most important chapters. And I was saying is Proverbs.
I'm not sure. I can say one chapter or verse is better or more powerful or different than the next. I mean, I guess it's just in what's being referenced, who's referencing, and why do you need the reference, so but I do think that Proverbs 31 does put a good criteria on what that virtue is, or righteous, or upstanding woman or person, because we could really drop the male or female and it applied to both people. That's why I was saying that it's already enough division amongst the sexes with male and female and masculine and feminine. If people would just work on being virtuous or righteous, it would kind of just correct. Everything would just kind of correct itself. Not just with relationship, loving relationships or partnership, but in society in general. If everybody did some work to
What
practice-
stifles that? What do you feel like stifles that? I mean, cause we was talking earlier and we was kind of on like the Proverbs woman is a woman of the way she moves. She's a gatherer. She's a woman who makes her.
She's an investor.
Right,
She earns
right,
her
right,
own
right.
money and invests. She's in the field.
She is kind of materialistic. Especially with what I would think, especially with what she already has, and take care of what she already has, so you won't have to.
Why use the word materialistic?
Because I don't think she's
That
materialistic.
gives it a bad connotation.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think
materialism.
it's
Materialism. I don't
She
say
has
materialistic,
she has
but-
acquired things through her work,
Right.
but that's because she's preparing to leave a legacy behind. So that's going to require. To me, that's going to require you have access to certain things. I don't think kings and queens would separate them from peasants in other ways, is that they do have access to materials and wealth and resources.
I don't want to say materialistic. I guess the listic kind of gave it a bad connotation, but the materialism part of it. She has to be a woman that gathers. So if you take care of what you already have, then you have to kind of put some type of focus on that material, or that, you see what I'm saying? That you have acquired. What I'm saying is, how does that affect today's society, materialism, or being? You see what I'm saying? It's like you are material, but you're not material.
What? Okay, so
That makes sense.
Yeah, make the distinction.
Yeah, distinction.
Like materialism and what we talk.
So I think when you say materialism, to me, somebody who is materialistic, they're only doing things to obtain physical attributes that they can actually touch, feel, something that's tangible.
That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
Whereas
Tangible.
the virtuous man or the woman, if they are gathering, it's not just for themselves. They're not selfish. They're not gathering. They're not working.
That's what I was saying. Is it their character?
It's
or
their
is it what they
character.
can
Where is that?
obtain?
I think it is their character, because part of being virtuous. Where's my card at? It all has to do with your character.
Yeah, it don't have to be nothing tangible.
It doesn't have to be, but but you're saying materialistic. So if you're looking at materialism and somebody who is materialistic, then their whole purpose is to obtain material items. Whereas if you're a virtuous person, you can be working towards obtaining materialistic things,
don't all
but
have
it's
to
not
happen
only for yourself.
at once.
It's for your village. It's
Yeah,
for
that's what I was waiting
it's for your family.
And
it's
it grows.
it's
Over
for
time.
generations
Right.
to come. So that's the difference to me.
So you saying your people could have been in the Bible?
I'm pretty sure that they do reference.
Hey, I'm
My
gonna put a
people in the
stamp
Bible.
on what she said. I'm willing to bet her people was in the Bible.
Yeah.
Every
From the
chapter.
people that she said.
Every chapter. Or just,
Well, from the Old Testament, New Testament, some other shit.
that's what I'm saying. The Old Testament. Every chapter in the Old Testament.
Yeah. Fubu,
From
for
Genesis,
us, by us.
from Genesis all the way to
Malachi?
that Malachi,
Yeah, for us, by us.
all the way to the flood.
That's past, way past flood, but flood's in there. Yeah, for us, by us. Fubu, you heard? Yeah.
What, the New Testament?
Nah, that's some other shit. I said that. That's some other shit. Two different things.
The whole New Testament?
The whole New Testament.
What?
He said two
The
different
Old
He's a
things.
scholar on this. I'm
Old
sitting back.
Testament.
I'm learning.
So the Old
Hey,
Testament-
She said
is
I'm
she was
learning.
a pastor's child, and the references she gave sounded like to me only Old Testament references. So I said, according to y'all question, yes, I don't know this lady.
You know what?
But it sounds like her people probably in there.
What's that for? For us, by us.
For us, by us. That's FUBU. Yeah, you know, clothing line back in the 90s. For us, by us. Old Testament was for us, by us. Y'all think y'all slick, but I'm on it, bro.
That's, you know how he do. But I feel where he coming from, though.
Why would you even ask a question like that, sir?
What?
That was random as hell.
What?
So you saying your people in the Bible? She ain't said nothing about that. It used to sound
He want Bible study.
But
So,
I would say to add to what she's saying though, to be a certain like character, kings and queens, they learn that at a young age because they coming from that. But you also gotta learn at a young age how to be a peasant, whether you taught that from your parents or just the environment you're around. Absentee of fathers and mothers, sometimes you will learn to just adapt to the environment you in. That's already a pre-constructed environment. So you could come from that, like I said earlier, you could come from a bloodline of royalty, but you were born into sin, so to speak, as the Bible says. You were born into an environment that was preordained for you and your people.
Can we do percentages?
To not be a king or queen no more. But what do you mean by that? Can we do percentages?
A percentage of royalty right here in America today.
Y'all be doing these percentages and we don't come up with them numbers.
Indigenous royalty.
I can't give you a percentage.
So your question is what now?
What would be a percentage?
Fuck all that.
Y'all,
No, I'm leading up to something.
Do you know that you're royal? Do you know that you come from royalty and that you're royal? Do you know that you are? Do you know that you are? Do you know that you are? So it's a possibility that it's 100% possibility.
Does your last name got some shit on it 100+ years ago? Probably. There you go.
So if the concept of parable or proverb woman is an American concept, that's kind of crazy, right?
Not really. Depends on who's reading it.
And why does it have to be an American concept? Why not a spiritual concept?
Or is spirituality an American thing because it's the old shit?
It is. It's the
ancient.
original. Yeah, it's the ancient.
Why does it have to be American?
Or why not, like she said? Why can't it be an African concept? As most things we learn, African proverbs.
Would it be different if it ain't African? And it's
I would say yes.
Why?
Because spirituality tends to tie to the land that it's tied to. So you have like voodoo and hoodoo. Hoodoo
No. The concept
is
of
like spiritual for American soil. So what grows here in America, I can't do that ritual in Africa because that herb probably don't grow there like that. Because the plants are spiritual. So I'm tapping to a different God-like entity on a different landmass because that's originated on that landmass. Like corn. Corn is an American Indian thing. So whatever deity is over the corn, I can't reference that in Africa because the original is where it's at, which would be America.
why does it matter if it's American?
Why does what?
If it's an American concept. You said why does it matter? Why is it not?
Because I think it's a lot of things that we can use to divide us as people, right? Where we from, how we speak, what color our skin is, all these different things. But if you believe in God and a higher power, that creator, the most high, and that everything start in the spirit, do anything too much really matter after realizing that it started in the spirit? So if everything will start in the spirit, like I said, we talking about a virtuous man and a virtuous woman. You got to have a spirit that is willing to align with being virtuous. That's why he was saying that everybody not gonna be a king, everybody not gonna be a queen, because you don't have that. You don't have that king spirit in you. You don't have that queen spirit in you. You don't have that that warrior spirit in you. We all are equipped with different spirits. What mine is capable of doing, theirs might not be, and vice versa. We not all on the same level or frequency or understanding that we are more than just these physical vessels that we present ourselves in. I personally feel closer to the spirit realm than I do the physical realm. So when I'm looking at people and I'm working with people, I don't necessarily focus or key in on if they black, white, Indian, Chinese, if they from California. No, I don't. That's not my primary focus. My primary focus is their spirit. What is their spirit saying to me? Is their spirit telling me that they're in pain? Is my spirit telling me that they need to cry? Is my spirit telling me that they holding on to some things that they need to release? My spirit desires to be a virtuous person.
So how does the spirit and the soul function together?
I mean,
Depending on demographics.
Why did you separate the two words?
Yeah, because
Why did I separate?
Those are the same to me.
Why did you separate those two?
Spirit and
Because the soul is physical.
The soul is physical.
To me, you can't take, once you die, the soul is gone. It's just spirit now.
So what is soul? Body? So we hear mind, body, and spirit. So which one is the soul? Which one is the body? Which one is spirit?
The soul is your decision making, to me. That's where you get your,
you said
almost your
decision
feelings.
making?
Almost your feelings.
You said
Your soul
decision
is
making?
almost, say that again.
You said the soul is decision making, right?
It's got something to do with decision making.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's
Yeah.
what you said. Okay.
Because you're going to make a decision off how your soul feels at that time. So soul is kind of a feeling to me.
Okay.
The spirit, and like I say, the soul, once the body dies, the soul don't go nowhere. The spirit does.
Okay.
That's
so what is spirit?
Well, I mean, it's the breath of life.
The breath of life. Got it.
Right.
Okay.
And once you
breath
die,
travels wherever it
that
goes.
breath is released, right?
Yeah.
And the soul, ain't no more soul. The soul dies with the body.
So so you make decisions with your brain, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the conscious of that person?
The soul.
I'm asking.
The soul.
So you're saying the consciousness of the person dies when the body dies.
Right.
But their spirit goes.
But the spirit lives.
Okay, so we were talking about something earlier off camera about an ancestor could come back in to their bloodline generations later because they don't learn the lessons that they need to learn, and they need to, through this baby, stop that generational curse. Is that soul or spirit? Because you said that. Okay, I'm gonna start it over. So earlier we were speaking.
Say what?
So earlier we were speaking on ancestors,
right?
And somebody coming back through the bloodline, like generations later, they might have died. Let's say 50 years ago, or 500 years, whatever the time frame is. But they come back through the bloodline to try to, because we were talking about age in calendars. So this particular spirit might be 5,000 years old, and they come back in through this baby born now with all this knowledge to hopefully change the dynamics of the bloodline. So is that the spirit or is that the soul? Because you said
would
you
say
make
the
decisions off, but that would
would
be
say
a decision
spirit.
made right by the spirit to come back through with all this knowledge to change the bloodline. So I'm trying to see where you fit
I would
in
say
with that.
spirit.
So the spirit had all this knowledge of what? You said the mind died with the body.
Oh, I forgot where I was going with it. I did.
But you said the soul dies with the body, but that's a decision making part. But it sounds like a decision was made to come back through this bloodline generations later. So how that happen if the soul died, which is the decision making part of that entity? That's what you said.
Yeah, I did. But I still feel like it's the spirit. So soul taught. Soul, that means soul will be taught. It's a taught thing. The soul to care, to have, feeling. To
It's
feel
all
about
associated
someone,
with the mind,
to
right?
feel like they should be a proverb. That's soul. I got soul, and I'm super bad. You know what I'm saying? Shit like
So
that.
there's no spirituality tied
I'm
to
not-
being Proverbs 31.
I'm not saying
Because
it's
you're
not a
saying it's
spirit
only
to it.
soul.
I'm not saying it's a spirit, not a spirit to it,
But
could
if that person dies, that was a virtuous woman or man. That's done with them. It died with them.
what, the soul?
Yeah, according to what you're
Yeah.
saying, if they thought, because you said that's decision making, they made decisions throughout their life to be Proverbs 31, male or female. They die. That dies with them. So what's the point of the mother teaching her son that? Her son is not her, but it's from her. So if she dies, her son is living entity from her. So if the mother dies and the son keeps that going, what's the point? If it just died with the mother, what's the point of teaching the son something that's going to die with the mother? And that son, 9 times out of 10, if he's moving right, he would teach his kids what his mother
That's
taught
what I
him.
said, it's a taught thing then.
So but you say the soul dies with the person. So why are we teaching things that only die with the person? So who is carrying it? The spirit, or is the soul not really dead? Or what is the point of the spirit if it's just breath? Like, help us understand what you mean.
If the Bible might be an American concept, why do they push everything to Africa? Like, if we talk about proverb women, it's like that whole concept could be from right here where we at.
It could tell to any
Which
landmass. There's
Huh?
kingdoms all over the world. It could go to any landmass.
Yeah, but the Bible might be about America,
Might be or might not be.
so that ain't kind of substantial or important. If that is the case,
So your
It's
question
attributed
is
to
why
another
say
person.
Africa, not America?
yeah. Why don't you just present it as what you trying to say that it is?
What am I trying to say that it
That
is?
it might be in America.
We talking about soul and body.
We're talking about the proverb
But
woman.
if you're gonna say that, I would say you detach people that might not be from Africa from the land that they stand on, because everything they need is right in front of them. You're gonna associate them with something umpteen thousand miles away that really probably don't got nothing to do with them. So you won't have the fight to maintain something in front of you while people come and maintain your shit that's you probably lost a couple 100 years ago, or maybe less than 100 years ago.
So there's a chance that it might be in America.
There's always a chance. Everything's a chance.
No, the Bible now, the Bible we read.
Everything's a chance. You're gonna ask that, but that's a vague question. There's kingdoms all over the world.
And it's almost like, as I'm listening, I'm getting this like analogy. It's like, okay, so if we're indigenous to America, right? Mm-hmm. We should be eating food that's indigenous to where we're from. We're not going to be eating food that is over in Switzerland somewhere that isn't even grown in the area that we're from. Like you said, I like the reference to the different deities. You know, it's different deities here in the Americas that's over in Haiti and other countries, Africa. That's why you see people different. That's why you see people practicing their different spiritual beliefs, because that's what they practice from that area. But I don't think that being virtuous has to be an American thing or any other country thing. That's why I said it's a spirit thing. It's something that your spirit wants you to do. It's something that your spirit wants to align with. That's anybody who's trying to, or who is actively working on improving themselves, and they made a choice to do it for themselves. Not because somebody say, hey, you need to quit drinking all the time, and then you stop drinking. When spirit start working you, and spirit be like, you know, your drinking is a problem. You might need to slow that down a little bit, and then you actively start working on yourself. You know, it's kind of different because spirit is prompting you to do those things.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So, you know, spirit is guiding an individual to do different things to enhance themselves. Now, when it comes to making children, right, that's an extension of you and the person that you make the child with, right? Mm-hmm. So, if you're doing all these things, you building your inner self up and your outer self, and you meet someone that is not from where you're from, do you feel like that taints your bloodline? Or it doesn't matter as long as they're in tune with you, even if they from somewhere else and don't identify with you and your ancestors as far as what you've been taught from not just your daddy, but you mentioned Indian type things. So you being that person and you connect, I'll use the word connect, with someone not from your land, not even just your land mass, like maybe within your tribe, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Can spirit override that, or you still kind of feel like it has to be in tune with your bloodline?
They're gonna have to be in tune with my bloodline. But I don't necessarily think that it has to be, again, because we're talking about spirit before the actual bloodline comes into place. So to me, as long as people are spiritually compatible, we might can get through some differences, not all of them. For instance, that's why I feel like we have to have some type of cultural connection or practices that could kind of ground our relationship. But that doesn't mean necessarily that because we different, they can't hear from spirit. Yeah, I'm the only one that can hear from spirit, you know, because I want to be virtuous, don't mean that the next person want to. Mm-hmm. But if someone gets with me and they see that I'm striving to be this virtual person, they might be like, okay, well, I can level up and I can do those things because I want to be a virtuous person too. I just don't think that it has to be so, I don't know, area based or country based, or I think it's more spiritually based as far as being spiritually compatible with people, as far as wanting to be virtuous. Like, you can't want to be a drug dealer and a gangbanger, and I'm over here trying to be as pure as possible, not cause any harm to anybody, and then we try to come together and be this great power couple. It's not going to work because we're going in two different directions. And I think that's what the Bible talks about, being equally yoked, or, you know,
Gucci did it.
You talking about the rapper? Wow.
Who? Gucci? He did what? I don't know.
So when you mention equally yoked in the Bible, what does it actually say about that? Like, what makes you unequally yoked?
I definitely would think the fruits of the spirit is something biblically that could cause people to be unequally yoked. Again, what is it within you? What is your intention with yourself? What type of person do you want to be in this world? You know, we all have a choice. That angel and that devil, and we constantly have choices that we can make to go either direction. So what is it that the individual wants to do? Because this is the path that I want to walk. So on this path, I need like-minded individuals with similar visions and goals and aspirations to be, virtuous as well.
I have one more question to that. So with that being said, are you willing to search or not search? Because you're searching on you constantly building yourself. So, but at the same time, you might be looking. Are you willing to stay within your race to find that? Or are you willing to look at anywhere? Or you're going to stay within your race first?
I think I will stay within my race.
Why is that? Because it's everything spiritual first.
It is.
So if you're dealing with race, then bloodlines would be different.
So what?
So if you're dealing with race, then you looking at something of similar of your bloodline? Or are you willing to go
wherever love might come from? Or
maybe, if that's what you want to use. So you sound like you say you want to stay within your race first to find all those things you said about spirit.
That's my intention. That's definitely my intention. It's just something about my race of people and that connection.
So, yeah, we can do that. You want something?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah, no. Ice water. That's a preference. Not saying that I don't think that there's possibly any way that I could spiritually meet someone that might be on the same level.
So what do you feel holds more weight? Spirituality? It sounds like spirituality holds more weight than anything.
With me, yeah.
Then why say my preference is still within my race?
Probably because it's a comfort thing to me.
But if you lead them by the spirit first, that means you're trying by the spirit, no matter skin tone. So what would make you uncomfortable?
You're trying to get me to say some things that I do not want to say, and I'm trying to be nice. You starting to act like this one right here.
Mr. Riley Major, is my question inappropriate?
No, I'm trying to find a way to say it. Like,
He's trying to find a way to say it. But is my question appropriate?
Do you think we're too much of an individual at this point? We don't really see ourselves in the collective?
Say that one more time.
The collective.
You saying we don't see ourselves as an individual?
No, we do. We over, but not as a collective.
Well, each individual makes a collective.
Yeah, but
you can't be too outside of yourself.
Your priority on the thing, like.
Well, I feel like in order to be an individual, you have to learn about the people before you, which is collective.
That's what I'm saying.
So
like,
all your individuality come from other people.
That's the
that
game.
came before you. So you're not really an individual. You are your ancestors.
They discredit your lineage.
Yes.
To make you not really care to. You don't know enough to have honor for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that, but she said some key things about spirituality, and I just want to make sure, are we saying spirituality could come from all walks of life and bloodlines, or does spirituality do tie to bloodlines? Because we know when we saying spirit, for people who may not know, there's a ton of them. So like when people say God, I'll be like, which one you talking about? Some people only be like, well, God, like Jesus. But if you go to like India, they got like 20,000 of them. So she is definitely coming off where she know what she's saying. She's not
Absolutely.
fishing
saying,
like. So I'm like, so do we look for that spirituality within your bloodline? Because to me, bloodline and spirituality go hand in hand. But or is it just two like spirits and we can build?
As far as respecting your bloodline, it's like.
But how do you respect your bloodline? She said they have to be in tune with her bloodline. So how do you be in tune, but they're not from it, and then you want to build a legacy with them?
And see, that's why.
I mean, that's an intentional question.
And I like the way you phrased that for my non-POC viewers.
I mean, because you never know what to.
So that's why I was trying.
Like you got it in there, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna get that out. Like, nah.
How does a Proverb woman operate in that? Like the whole taking advantage of opportunity when everybody is kind of like.
Well, the key thing in the scriptures she read, though, she mentioned a point about who her husband is. This woman is a Proverbs 31 woman, but she got a companion who matching that. It's not a solo type woman. Yeah, she can be, but eventually a man is going to snatch that up who matches that. Mm-hmm. A woman like that can't stay single forever because she brings too much goddamn table. A man gonna snatch that up. The right one anyway.
Because that's the problem. We was talking about something earlier, and it dawned on me. You said something about, well, how does that, like maybe how many of the men today are prepared for this type of woman? And it's not too many. Yeah. Because you're exactly right. Because when you're dealing with a virtuous woman, you're gonna align or you're gonna just dissipate somewhere. Yeah. Because she's not gonna allow you. If you're not gonna rise, she's not gonna allow you to pull her down. Yeah. She's too knowledgeable for that. She'll give it a shot. As soon as she sees that all the information and all that she pouring in, it's not, working, she's going to have to step away. Yeah. She's going to have to refocus her attention on something that's more in alignment with her. Because she knows that with the virtuous woman, she knows she on a mission. Yeah. And it ain't just her mission.
Why, like you mentioned it earlier, how the whole social media thing paint the picture like black men, black women beefing, and it's because black women feel like black men ain't leveling up. So how does that whole Proverb 31 thing?
Does that mean?
How is a woman expected to be able to handle that kind of pressure, where it ain't fair game? How do you
pressure from who? Because the virtuous woman, the only pressure she gonna put is on herself. Ain't no pressure that a man can put on her. She gonna put that pressure on herself. That's what make her virtuous.
Yeah, because these women that on social media, they might make a high dollar amount, but they don't do none of that other shit she said. Mm-hmm. So they might not even be a virtuous woman. They just make more money than a man, and that's what I see.
So why you think that argument is out there like it is?
I mean, it's out there like that on purpose. Propaganda, as you always say. That's propaganda. To keep the division, as she said earlier. And it don't need much work. It's, I make 100,000, he make 30. I don't need to talk to him. But he might only make 30 for a circumstance that happened in his life, but that don't mean he ain't built to be a Proverbs 31 type of man that's matching that woman in that scripture. Mm-hmm.
So how does it work with
that's just an income thing that I think social media throws around.
Well, I mean, just the numbers of supposedly, allegedly, black women got higher numbers than black men, like in the business world.
What's the question again?
Like, I understand kingdom and shit, but there's levels between kingdom and peasant. You have something in the middle.
Appreciate it.
So where do those people operate? How, you know, especially in today's world where that argument is out there. Like, that's the narrative. Black women killing it, niggas ain't leveling up.
That's a narrative. That don't mean it's factual, but that is a narrative. Because
so is it closer to that or to?
I think it depends on the circle you in. That goes to the whole Proverbs thing. This mother is teaching her son, you got to deal with only these type of people. Fuck what's going on outside of that. You or this, you got to deal with these type of people. So it depends on the circle you in. All birds flock together type of situation that we always hear. So if you in a circle where you, let's say you are a female and you go out, you in the dating scene and you keep attracting the same type of man and you have females around you, y'all all getting the same type of men. That's
what about this time we living in where
that's what I'm talking about.
Where the narrative is like, you know, you see Will Smith in them, you see Papoose, Remy Ma in them. Mm-hmm. This narrative where it ain't enough to just be holding down your household. Like the other shit.
And again, everybody's not meant to be a king and queen. A lot of people hold down their households don't mean they're a king or a queen. You're just doing the right thing to do so you won't be homeless. Holding down your household is different from holding down a kingdom.
So who's the kings that we know about?
What do you mean? What kind of question is that? What do you mean, who is the king?
I'm trying to break, I don't see it. Like,
what do you mean, who is the kings?
pushed.
Like, you mean literal, like, name some people? Because I just said everybody's not fit to be that. They say that on Lion King.
We have to follow. That's why you have to become the example. It's not enough examples.
And everybody can't become
and everybody
the example.
can't do it, so
it's really got to be in you.
Yeah, it has to be in
That's
you.
the jump
it has
DNA
to be something
thing.
that you want.
You know, like the
You
jump
want.
DNA, it be DNA that's dormant for years, but it's in you. Then you some kind of way come across some knowledge or whatever, and you're like, damn.
So
that resonate with me, and then you start walking in it. Everybody not fit for that role, bro. You can't get around that.
What are they supposed to? How are they supposed to envision?
Self-reflection. Do I fit that?
People need a reference.
Your family to check with your family, see what you come from. Because you might come from.
I'm talking now, like.
But you can't have now without the past. What you might be acting like, what you acting like now might not be what you are.
What's today's representation?
Depends. The representation
do we have that?
Of what should be.
Of what a virtuous couple looks like.
I would say it's just not on mainstream media.
About kingdom. What is a kingdom?
Yeah, that's. I think I had said this. Not on mainstream media.
Yeah, it's just not portrayed. That's why I said it depends on your circle. If you're somebody who's influenced by media anyway, you're already missing it. A real king and queen don't even got time to see what's on social media like that. Period. You wouldn't be affected by social media.
It's not even really a concern.
Because you busy out here doing
like it's too much
shit.
other stuff on your mind to be like.
Yeah, you on king shit.
Are we like Beyonce and Jay-Z yet? Or
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not.
What he said.
Paparazzi you. They trying to paparazzi you.
I don't be knowing what's going on half social media half the time. A lot of times, let my oldest daughter come tell me something. Because I got a 25-year-old. I don't know what's going on. Because I'm busy doing what I need to do.
No.
And see, all that comes from a certain level of consciousness.
Exactly.
that you don't reach.
Self-reflection.
And if you're not there yet, it's something you can't even get it.
So when you mention social media references, we talking about people who are already on a low level thinking. And that could be because of circumstances and trauma. But real kings and queens or real gangsters or whatever the word we want to use for today, they busy doing what they do. They're not caught up in the media world. A lot of times I'm like, damn, I didn't know that. What? That's what's going on? They busy doing what they made to do. Mm-hmm. It's the people who not on that level who is caught up in these fantasy worlds that's metaverse shit.
Mm-hmm. So Proverb women, like
You would not find a proverb woman on Instagram one day, or a man.
the concept.
At all.
It ain't that foreign.
And if they got a
concept.
page, they barely on it. They might be like, I got it for family, but they don't even talk to them like that.
Is it something people should aspire to, or you want just all? And there ain't no.
I should say people should aspire to see what they made of. So that's self-reflection first. Because that might be a role that don't fit you.
So is it urgent now, or is it just like well,
Everything is
probably-
urgent, but I think propaganda make everybody want to be that role, and they know they can't fit them shoes.
But that's what I was saying.
They-
They propaganda. When I mean
Is that a
propaganda, I
problem
mean
to let people know that? Would they
Yeah.
know that they're not?
yeah, because you're gonna have more people get rich or die trying type of situation.
Is that the same thing as? Is that the same thing?
Everybody not meant to be an entrepreneur. Them
So you
scriptures right there.
equating dope and violence to the only way to get there.
No, but what I will say about that analogy that you did, the people that are successful in those things, they probably, because it's in a bloodline, and that was what was
Those are the
presented
only
to
ones we
them.
know about.
That y'all know about. Depends on your circle. Yes.
You ever
What
heard
you
of
ex-
Scarface?
Yeah.
You ever heard of American Gangster?
Yeah.
Goodfellas?
Yeah.
I mean, it don't matter what family.
But you ever heard of Mark Wayans?
Who?
Mark Wayans.
Who's that?
Exactly. That was a
That's my
brother
point.
who got killed for speaking over 100 languages. He could speak damn near every language in the world. He got killed last year, allegedly by the CIA. And he's related to the McCormick family with the seasoning. It's like the Ahmaud Arbery situation. Old wealth tied to a name. And you next in line, they'll try to kill you. See, I just showed you because my circle different. But I could also name some people who be outside, but for what? Why do that on the camera? But I just showed you an example. It's the circle. I just named people you haven't heard. Have you heard of Kevin Powell?
Who, the entertainment business?
No. He makes over $100 million a year trading stocks, and he's a nigga. Come from the same type, lost his mother, don't know who his daddy is. The whole nigga story. But he is somebody doing something of value. But I go show you that circle means something. So if I come from clean lineage, but all I'm exposed to is drugs and violence, out of all the niggas in there, I might be the one who making the most money in that neighborhood because I come from that regardless. That's just what they gave me. That's why
Yeah,
most
but
drug
you're the
dealers are
exception.
great entrepreneurs. They just doing the wrong shit because they already come from that. Then you got people who want to fake be a drug dealer, but they not really getting no money. It just sound good. It's the same type of shit. They being virtuous without even knowing because they doing shit and they employing people, they feeding the community, they doing all these things that Proverbs 31 said. It's just that they doing something illegal. Then you got the other people who want to say they're a drug dealer because it sound cool. But then you got people who really feed in neighborhoods and mamas and grandmas on the block, and if they get in trouble on the block, the neighborhood vouch for them and they beat charges because they really for the community. It's just they doing something illegal in the government eyes. They not virtuous?
I'm just saying those the only ones we
Yeah,
know
and
about.
I gave you you said American Gangster. He was one of the, Frank Lucas was a guy who came from another guy, what's the Geechee man? What's the man, that Frank Lucas protege, Malcolm X Frank, Bumpy Johnson,
Bumpy, yeah.
who fed the community. They did virtuous things with illegal, quote unquote, substances.
How many niggas that you know made a lot of money doing straight work?
Straight work?
Yeah, not dope.
None. Nobody could
That's
read.
my point.
But what that got to do with being?
You said niggas, it's my circle. I know stockbrokers, nigga. I know doctors. I know lawyers. And
I didn't mention doctors and lawyers.
I'm just saying,
Those
like,
are job people.
niggas don't walk around knowing niggas that make $100 million.
But my point is, your circle. I come from that same background of the niggas you talking about, but I changed my circle.
You are hyper aware. I'm talking about people that's watching this. Like,
how you know the people that I'm talking about ain't watching this? That's in my circle.
I don't know $100 million niggas.
That's fine.
You know $100 million niggas?
What that got to do with your point?
$1 million.
But what that got to do? What that got to do with the point of your circle? Sometimes can expose you to things that you might not have known if you never changed your circle.
My point was, how do we as viewers and people having this discussion,
and I said self-reflection,
visualize what it is to be that?
To be virtuous.
And I said self-reflection.
No. A proverb man, royalty.
To be virtuous.
Who do we know? Who fits that?
You can fit it, but it's self-reflection. Or you cannot fit it, but you won't know till you really sit down and look at your ass in the mirror and say, man, I ain't built for no woman like that right now. I gotta get my shit together. Or I ain't built for no man like that right now. I need to get my shit together. Or if you are doing it, then you gotta be careful when you out here just dating. You can't just be doing all these blind dates and shit, because you wasting your energy with people.
So we should all aspire to be that.
No. I say you should all aspire to self-reflect first, to then see what you need to be.
Be your higher self.
Everybody is not meant to be a
dangerous?
king or a queen. What is?
Can that be dangerous?
What?
A person self-reflecting and understanding that I need to be a killer.
No, it's not dangerous.
I'm just saying.
It's not.
Oh, I need to be a drug dealer. I need to be.
No, those are jobs. But then you got people who come from a warrior bloodline. What warriors do? They kill when it's time to kill, right?
When it's time to kill.
Okay, so you're saying you're a killer and a warrior, them two different things. That's why self-reflection is important. You learn how to control what the hell you're supposed to be. So y'all saying points, but y'all missing the self-reflection part.
No, I get it.
When you learn martial arts or boxing, everything is about self-control first, because they teach you something that can be detrimental or helpful to the environment.
Martial arts is
They always teach you self-containment. What we teaching you shouldn't be going out here just be doing that shit. You do that if you have to. So it's that self-reflection is not what's being taught.
And figure out what you need to practice for yourself.
See, social media teach you how to be like somebody else. Nobody's teaching self-reflection. Self-reflection is sometimes looking at your parents and your grandparents and so on to see what makes you what you are. Nobody teaches self-reflection. Anybody like, get like me. I made this amount of money, whether it was selling drugs, operating on bodies, selling stock. Everybody teach you to get like me.
Everybody might not be a stockbroker.
And a lot of people scamming. They're not even getting that money for real. They getting their money off you subscribing. That's another thing. Social media teaches false self-reflection. Get like me, and that person not even the person that they telling you to be like. Who is teaching self-reflection out here? Nobody. Because that's the scariest thing to do, because it's you in that mirror. You looking at your fucking self. And a lot of times it's ugly. Yeah, it's ugly. Nobody
don't want to do that. That's why people
don't
want to do it. That's exactly why people don't want to do it. It's too much work.
Too much work.
It's too much work, and it's a bunch of lazy.
You know how much work it takes to break a generational
here.
curse?
And people don't want to do it.
So who gives that to the woman, to the Proverbs woman?
What do you mean, who gives that?
Who gives that to her?
What do you mean? I'm not sure your question.
Because it's like,
mind you, that's a woman telling that to a man in that scripture. So keep in mind that. It's not a man saying it.
A woman telling that to a man.
It's a mother telling it to her son.
Telling what his mama told him.
He's writing what his mama telling him.
Okay.
So this woman already moving like that.
I understand that.
Right.
She's already moving like that.
Because she come from that.
But she said to her son, find a woman who uplifts you, right?
Correct.
So who gives that to her?
Who gives that to the woman?
How did she get it?
How did the mother get it?
Right.
You gotta look at the lineage. She come from a family of already royal people. Her daddy is a man in the Bible called Iliam. He is one of David's top 30 warriors. Like Like how we watched Black Panther and he had them women warriors around him, like they killing shit. They like that. That's her daddy. She already come from a high status person. She was already taught it. So the mama ain't just saying no bullshit because her son is a king. Like Bathsheba is somebody who always is scorned for the role of the child being born. But people don't realize Bathsheba already come from high-ranking people. That's my point. Self-reflection. You can't only self-reflect by looking at who the fuck you came from. And for some people, that might be hard to do because they might not be in contact with their family.
So why is it so important that the Bible specifically told her, wrote it like this, for her to tell her son, and her son to tell her story?
Well, her son is a king, so kings think about everybody. His mama is telling him how to operate as this type of man. Because he's a king, he's thinking about lineage. We want to keep this bloodline going in kingdoms. I'm gonna write this down for my it's not predecessor. What's when you descendants? I'm gonna write this down for my descendants because people like that thought that far. Today we think about me and the people in my four walls. Hell, 50 years ago, our grandparents already were thinking about us before we were born. So if you was privileged to sit with your grandparents as a youngster or coming up, they teach you shit that's always community based. When you're a king or a queen, you have to be community based. That's why the fuck you're a king and a queen in the first
So
place.
you're talking about lineage.
I've been saying that this
Right,
whole
but
time.
my question is why is it so important that it comes through the Bible like it did?
Because wisdom is described as feminine, so the father not gonna give that
Wisdom is described as feminine.
It's a feminine noun, literally in the dictionary. Wisdom, you see feminine noun, and we know noun is a person, place, a thing from school. So when we see wisdom in the Bible, a lot of times they'll say her after the word, and they say follow her. We don't see wisdom in him in the same sentence. You know how they make jokes, men from Mars and all that. You know, or women got the God's intuition because they smarter than us, because they probably are, for real. Like,
Is it even in supreme mathematics, wisdom equates to the woman?
see, now she went to the God body. That's facts. And all the councilmen back then, when we talking about whether it's ancient America, all the way to Africa, all the prominent men in their community counsel with the women before they make their decision, whether it's a war move or a peace move. They gonna counsel with the women before they make that decision. And I think I said this before in another episode. I used the movie 300 for an example. When King Xerxes was all the people was coming to the Spartan king of taking their land, and they had that bottomless pit right there.
Yeah.
He could have felt how he wanted. He glanced at his queen wife first before he kicked them niggas down there and screamed, "This is Sparta." Before that, that's the most famous scene. He looked at his wife first. His wife gave him a look like, kick them niggas down there. Then he screamed, "This is Sparta," and they started cutting their heads off and kicking them down that thing. That don't make him no less than a man. He's a fucking king. He still received counsel from his wife, and it was just a look. She didn't even open her mouth. She was like, "Yeah, kill them niggas." And then they killed them niggas. That's how it was back then. That's how it was 40, 50 years ago. Well, I don't want to say 40. Probably like 50 to 70 years ago, because my granddaddy was a man like that. And now it's, I'm the man, I got to do this. Or I'm the woman, I got to do this. Like they passed a law like women now could go be on the infantry line now. I don't know if y'all seen that, but that's recent. Women could now be on the infantry. So if they partner is a 300-pound man, nobody left behind. You got to pick that nigga up, just like everybody else is trained, and carry him in the middle of line of fire. And most women physically just can't do that. That don't mean they can't. It just don't make sense. Why would you have your women out there? They the ones who supposed to keep the lineage going. So now you have women that I can do what a man can do, and they getting out there doing the shit and getting killed. That was within a month actually where they passed that for the draft. Women can now be on the same level as men.
That is kind of weird. What you think about that?
Yeah, that's
The
just.
women need to be on the front line.
Where in the past,
This is
men will always go
This
to
is
the
my
war.
first time hearing about his referencing to. This is just now something
Yeah,
that
that's
they
recent,
just
within
recently
a few
passed.
weeks.
So when you were saying it, Spirit had me looking at something totally different, like some prep work for the future. What's going on where they're allowing women to be on the front line for infantry? You know, so
Like, why would you want the people who create life on the front line? We supposed to go out and fight and protect them. And if they make it past us, they even should be trained enough to know how to shoot a gun. If they got past me. At least that's how I run my household. If you get past me, you a goddamn mercenary. Because you got some shit waiting on you. But most people don't train up like that. But back then, the men went to war. The women were communicating with the spirits
and that's it. That's what I was gonna
to
say.
help us win that war. Goddamn it!
That's what we are. We're y'all spiritual protection.
It's like, babe, you
We
really
receive
think I should go
messages
kill
from
these
the
niggas?
spirit realm
Yeah.
to help our men prepare, like you
Exactly.
said, for
we
battle.
Seek the counsel of the women.
Yeah, so the women are there to
So if
help
our counsel
the
going
men.
to the front line, who we going to get the wisdom?
Yeah.
If they getting killed at front line, who we going to get the wisdom from? That's a losing battle. We supposed all throughout history, when you look at art of war and all these things, they seek even Hannibal and them. They seek the councilman. That's I would say a universal thing. It's not an American thing. All the great warriors speak to the council of the women first, like omens and all these things on movies. It's a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. How far does Proverbs extend? How far does Proverbs extend
Well,
in the world?
Proverbs,
Or
it's Proverbs 1. We talking about 31. So that tell you right there how far it extends. There's a Proverbs 1.
I'm not talking about the whole chapter.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about just extend out. into
Well, it's the
society,
Bible.
into
That Bible,
society.
the Bible is spread all over the world.
Right.
So there you go. All cultures have that walk, but that don't take the context of the writer. The context of the writer was writing for their people.
I'm just saying, it seems like don't people move different on different land masses? Like,
Of course,
right.
they land. Ain't nobody came and snatched them up and took them somewhere else. They are on the shit they from and have the knowledge of it. Most of them. When you talk to
So they're gonna take it and apply it to their region the way they choose.
They
to
didn't
apply
have
it.
They didn't have the wars to keep them from their shit like Indians had. They ain't have shit that made it illegal to practice their shit. Oh, and here in America, it was illegal for you to even say I was a such and such tribe. You were gonna get shot or hung. They ain't had that in Africa. Africans usually be fighting amongst other countries in Africa. In America, you had a whole government coming to your door. Oh, you Choctaw boy? Nah, I ain't no Choctaw, because you ain't trying to get killed. It's not the same with them. Hell, Jewish people had the Holocaust and they still getting money for that, and that was way in the 40s.
You said it's just a spirit, right?
Say what?
It's a spirit. It's spiritual.
Everything starts in spirit.
Everything
So
is.
how do you feel the spirit is?
Everything is.
With everything that's going on when it relates to the Proverbs, and what's going on in the world, the spirit that we're experiencing.
I mean, like we spoke on the last recording, it's challenging because it's a lot of spirits that are. A lot of people are under spiritual warfare. A lot of people don't even realize that we are spirits. They just think that you're a human. They don't even realize that you have a spirit attached to you. So me recognizing my spirit and how I want to be as far as virtuous, righteous, the way I choose or present to carry myself, it's challenging. It's not easy. It's and that's what I'm telling you, that it's not.
Do you think we should be meddling in other people's affairs in other lands and stuff?
I think if people mind they business, then we'll be everybody
I'm just
be a
saying,
whole lot better.
It's a spirit.
It is. It's again a spirit of
Can I
division
ask a
and
question too?
confusion and war and separation. It's a lot of spirits that we dealing with.
I got a question for you because I know you deal with Reiki. How you say it? Reiki. So that's chakras, right? Mm-hmm. Do each chakra align with a certain part of your body?
It does.
Does chakra deal with energy?
It does.
Is that spiritual?
It is.
So if a certain part of my body, which is natural, is out of tune, could that make me spiritually out of tune?
Usually, more than likely, it is spiritual. And then things present themselves physical.
So they intertwine.
They're definitely intertwined. But it usually, for instance, in Reiki, we learn that if someone is presenting with pain, let's just say in their back or their body or anywhere, it's something spiritually going on with that person. I was explaining to her earlier how your chakras are actually correlated with your age, with ages. So when we're looking at your chakras and energetic blockages, my pendulum can tell me where trauma has occurred at in your life.
Time out. I'm sorry. Time out. You said pendulum. Mm-hmm. What is a pendulum?
Devices used to read energy, channel energy.
What's the thing they use where with the weights and trying to balance it out? That's not called a pendulum. You know how you have
scale?
like, yeah, but is another word for that a pendulum or no?
It could be because pendulums, they do have like a weight in them. Some of the pendulums that I use, so it does have a weight in it. It carries.
So somebody could have too much weight and throw them off spiritually.
They can,
not even physical weight, but even
emotional, traumatic weight, emotional
from generations prior.
Yes.
And they won't operate like a king or queen.
No.
That's why it deals with character. That's why I was saying, does it deal with their character, or does it deal with their?
This is a question for you. Can a person's DNA determine their character as a young child? Like they got two parents, they 2 years old. That person is comprised. The 2-year-old is comprised of mama and daddy. Can the characteristic, or better yet, the state of mind they were in when they made the child, can that affect how the child grow up?
Absolutely.
If that child wasn't a love baby, quote unquote.
Yes, it can. Again, because everything starts energetically.
So you can't really be spiritual without the natural and spiritual sound like it work hand in hand.
It is, because spirit is natural. Spirit is natural. It's
so when
organic.
they say God is omnipresent, how can God be naturally omnipresent? Or he can't be naturally I don't even want to say he, because no.
Why can't it?
Can the Christian world say God is everywhere? How can he be everywhere? But then they also say the devil is on my back, the monkey's on my back. So the devil's omnipresent too, and God? Like, is that a yes or no thing? Like, is God omnipresent and the devil isn't, or are they both omnipresent? And what does that mean?
I guess it depends on the concept of God that you're looking at. Because if you're looking at God as yourself, your self connection to God, the highest source, then it would be both, because you in tune with the good qualities and the characteristics that God present, as well as the maybe not so the harsher aspects of God, So while being able to choose to be virtuous or not virtuous, that's what you're selecting from.
So you the God and the devil.
Yeah. You're the good and the bad. You're the yin and the yang. You're the one that make the choice on which way and which direction it is.
So the Bible probably is written is me.
I am the one.
I'm the adversary. I am, right?
I'm Genesis and Revelations. I'm all that in between. I mean,
does that answer your question? No? But yeah. It sounds like we playing both sides depending on what side you're leaning on.
I feel I have the power to be either one of those. I can be God.
So you're a healer, it sound like. Right? So as a healer, you might be more.
It's pretty conflictual though, man. Like,
Well, hear me out, right? A healer and a
What
doctor
makes
is to me the same thing.
okay.
So a doctor, aka healer, might be more compassionate for people in general, as opposed to a warrior. A warrior is only going to fight for their people. So I come from warrior bloodline on my
That
dad's
racist?
side.
No.
No. I'm not even doing that. But maybe.
No, I got
But
it.
she's a healer. She practiced Reiki. She's into healing people mentally and really physical, both.
That's good.
So to you, that would be healing the soul and the spirit, because you said the soul and the body die together. So she's a healer. I'm a warrior. A warrior only gonna fight for his people. But if I get injured in war, I'm coming to the healer, who I might ain't be of the same tribe of her. If she see I'm hurt, she gonna try to heal me. So with that in itself, the Proverbs 31 don't fit for every person. Because I might just be a warrior at heart, and I'm only gonna fight for mine. But she's a healer. She don't like to see nobody hurt. So in Proverbs 31, because that's what we're talking about, it's only for certain people. I'm a warrior, so if I'm dealing with another nation and they warriors too, yeah, I respect what they do, but I'm fighting for mine.
So you would have to go to.
But she's a healer. She's not. She's more compassionate than me.
So you would have to go to scriptures that talk about warriors to understand what a warrior is.
Not necessarily. We talk about Proverbs 31, and
Right,
I'm trying
I
to know
know.
the basis around it. Mm-hmm. Proverbs 31 is fit for a king and a queen who runs people. Mm-hmm. Everybody ain't a king and queen.
Right.
I would not say I'm a king. I'm a warrior who protect mine. I just might be a little bit.
And you know that though.
But I know that I'm comfortable. My daddy, everybody, my whole lineage out of Alabama is straight warriors. From boxers to martial arts, we fight. We not fit to be a king. We fight. The king gonna tell us, nigga, protect that shit. We on it. You ain't coming. We on it. We not fit to be a king. Proverbs 31 is fit for a king and a queen. So with that being said, she's a healer. So she's gonna see somebody in pain, like she said, yeah, my preference is my race, but if we spiritually could connect, I may try to help them. A warrior like, nigga, you ain't from my tribe, you dead. There's a difference. That's why you have people who delegate things in society. Warriors, they shoot when told to. They kill when told to. A healer is actually in the council with the women in the community. You got the king, you got the queen. Now I'm talking about American indigenous culture. You have the all white priest, that's peace. Then you have a priest who wear the red. When we talk about Southern Indians, mainly like Cherokee, Muskogee, this area here. You'll have your chief, which chief is a king, or chief this, whatever. Then you'll have one priest come out with all white, that's the peace. Then you got one in all red, that's blood, warfare. We all come with the councilman of the elder women of the community and the ruler, the king or the queen. And then we all sit and we make that ultimate decision. So that shows you right there in Proverbs 31, everybody ain't in that room neither.
So there's
a hierarchy, there's a status.
Right.
That's exactly. There's no offense to nobody who is supposed to be a killer.
But it all works under the Proverb 31.
Exactly, because then those people
It all works for the Proverb 31.
Well, the Proverbs 31 is for those people, but everybody can't be that. So when those people finish counseling, they go out to the people and say the ultimate decision, and the people go with, like today, people go with what the government say. The government went in council, and I told you who that was. It'll be the two priests, the war priest and the peace priest.
Right.
War would be all red. As far as the Southern Indian thing, with mainly Cherokees and all that. White would be the peace. Red is bloodshed, war, amongst the older women of the community, because they got the wisdom, along with the king and the queen. They gonna counsel for X amount of days.
But is this all a collaboration
Of
for the
only,
Proverbs?
yes,
It's all yeah.
because he's a king.
Yeah.
She's telling him who you have to deal with.
Right.
You can't deal with everybody because you gonna fuck up the bloodline.
So Proverbs can be a collective thing too.
A collective amongst like-minded individuals.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
If you're a king, you can't talk king shit with peasants because they not gonna understand it, and they might taint you. One thing about Jesus, though, not to get into the whole if he's real or not. The concept of Jesus is that he was a king, yet he sat with the lowest of the low. Within his nation, though, he said he was only here for the lost sheep of Israel. So he sat with the highest of the highest. Most of the time he was arguing with them. And then he sit with the lowest of the low. So he gonna smoke a blunt with them. He gonna drink with them because they call him a wine bibber. That means you drink. He gonna sit with the lowest of the low, but he could also politic with the politicians and be that mediator between the two, like civil rights, kinda. You know? So when you are that type of caliber, Jesus, allegedly, his bloodline on his daddy's side would be all royalty. When I mean his daddy, I mean Joseph. So all he come from royalty. So Jesus already know how that work. But he is somebody who's bred for both sides. He could deal with the lowest of the low, but he could deal with the politicians. So a Proverbs 31 person should be able to do both.
That's right. That's right. You got to be.
I'm
How
a
else are you
king,
going to be
I'm a
effective
king,
here?
and I
You
could
know?
talk with kings, but I could talk with the gangsters of my community too, because they kind of circulate my economy. Like we won't be technical. They kind of circulate my economy. I don't want to lock them up, but you know we gotta see how we can have a meeting of the minds. We don't want to be technical because
Diplomacy.
yeah, there we go. Everybody not fit for that. But the propaganda side is, at least in the Christian world, everybody want to push Proverbs 31 to be that, but you're not supposed to be that when you not come from that. Then you got this mindset, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman, and you got a busted ass nigga, and you wondering why shit ain't working for you.
Okay, so that might be where everything come together. The solution is play your role, nigga.
Play your role, nigga.
That's the
You
solution.
can't have too many chiefs
What
and
we
no
was talking about
Indians.
earlier, that's the solution. Play your role, nigga.
So how niggas know what they role is?
I knew you were gonna come with that.
Genealogy. See what you come from. If you don't come from royalty, who are you to step up and be like, I'm a king? Prove it.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you're going to have to prove
That's a
to
big
be
ass
whatever
role,
you
my
think
nigga.
it is that you are.
Like the criteria to be a president in America, you gotta be 35, like no felon. Like most niggas could apply for that, but can they really handle that role? Did you even run a business before? Was you even management at a job before? Like everybody can't be the president just because you fit the minimum requirements. It's the same shit like with a resume. What's your resume say? Your resume in that aspect will be what you come from, what stock you come from.
So by understanding that will make you go find you a role that fits you.
Yeah, because you might come from a role of
Play your role.
straight warriors. You
Right.
designed to kill, nigga. Stay back
But
till
they make it
get
so
the
hard though, man. They make it so hard because they want to down.
But they make it hard.
But y'all worth this. You know, they want
But
to
you,
put work
why
on
would you? If you was them, why would you not do that?
Say it again.
If I was them, I'd do that too. I need to keep this money coming into my grandchildren and great grandchildren. That's old wealth we talking about old wealth. All this stems to old wealth that somebody trying to maintain.
People let
That's
it
not
get to
theirs.
them. They let the stigma get to them.
That's fine. Why it's getting to them? The bag continue getting to them.
To who?
To the people who maintaining the wealth. Because y'all asked a question when we was out there, is it about maintaining or Nah, I said about maintaining. If I was the enemy and this ain't my shit and I had it for 100 years, I want to do whatever I can and keep maintaining this. I'm comfortable with this. The minute you wake up, it's the end for my family. Why would I let you wake up, nigga? If it costs $30 million marketing budget out a year for my family to pay to keep your ass down, when I'm gonna put out Juneteenth sales and Black Friday sales to keep you caught up in that, I'm gonna pay that. That $30 million, I ain't worried about that, because I'm talking $300 million for my generations. They deal in trust law. Remember I said this. Trust deal with longevity. We deal with now. They already dealing with shit after them. They already know they might be dead in 20 years if they already old. They already thinking about their lineage because this ain't their shit. So if I keep telling you from Africa, meanwhile your backyard is your shit, I'm gonna pay whatever I need to keep you from knowing that.
That don't make the community better though.
That's the point.
They don't want the community.
I'm
good.
trying to maintain my wealth while you keep not knowing. That's the point.
That is the point. That's part of the agenda that we was talking about.
I'm gonna keep pushing drugs in your
But I don't
community.
think understand that though.
Wow.
I understand it because we're talking about it. I just need the viewers to understand it. To understand.
The
Do
first-
they want to understand it? Do they want to raise their level of consciousness so that they can comprehend what we talking about? Because if they're not even on our frequency, it just sound like blah 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 blah
Yeah, of
blah blah.
course.
Like they can't hear us,
You
even
gotta
though we
get
speak in English. We're speaking the same language, but because we on different frequencies, they can't hear us.
Yeah.
It go back to that walkie-talkie thing. If all of
Right.
us ain't on that same channel, then something's gonna get lost in translation. Somebody gonna miss something.
Facts.
And I guess that goes, I mean,
That's why he's saying everybody's not
going
gonna be able to do it, or everybody's not gonna receive it because everybody's not on that level to receive
I feel
it.
like we're at a point to where we could just rewind everything back and play it backwards, and it all come together perfectly. And let the nigga tell it.
Everybody,
You know what I'm
you can't save everybody.
For real.
You can't save everybody.
Because it just goes back to. Yeah.
If you trying to save everybody, you might kill yourself trying to save everybody.
And you will. And I talk
You're
about
gonna reach
this
your
too.
hand out to somebody that's gonna fuck around, pull you in that water, and you drown with them. So you have to be smart enough to discern. That's where the scripture "Don't cast your pearls among swine" come in. Can't save everybody, even if they look like you. It's because it's past that.
Because I think, what I'm saying, a lot of times we were, it just looked like we were pulled away from.
Oh
Like,
no,
some
nobody's
people-
denying that. We were pulled away from it.
Right, through
Not even pulled, like snatched.
It's more snatched.
all of this.
Snatched so
That's what-
fast that you
that's
don't
what
even have
happens in
time
war.
to recollect like what you just got snatched from.
Yeah, that's
like,
what
you
happens in
just-
war. That's what
Yeah.
happens. Ain't no peacetime in that shit, but that happens in war.
And I appreciate y'all, all standing your grounds on on your roles. Playing your
Supposed to,
role.
gotta play
He
your
said
role.
he was the warrior. He said he was the healer. Said you was America. You know what I'm saying? Everybody playing their role.
You gotta play
It's
your
cool.
role, man.
And it's all cool, right?
You
And it
can't-
is, and that's good that you even saying it like that, because I think again it becomes problematic where everybody think they supposed to play the exact same role. Like you
Right.
said, everybody in the room can't be a king or be a queen.
And that amongst our people, what's the main thing we say? Grand Rising King and Queens.
Yeah.
You might be a motherfucking room full of goddamn
Peasant.
peasants.
Or
You talking to the
enemy,
wrong
though.
crowd.
Yeah. You trying to include everybody in that, and I thought about
Yeah.
that. I'm like, you know what?
Those
I keep
words,
saying
we use those
these-
words too loosely.
We do, because everybody is not king or queen,
And that's okay.
and that is okay.
So I mean, yeah, people gotta understand that because
But I would say
nobody's gonna come in and say, "Hey, healer. Hey, warrior. Hey, America."
No, but-
you know what I'm saying? I'm just
but what but the
so that's kind of like
propaganda
a way to say,
behind that-
"Hey, everybody, kings and queens." But,
But
I
that-
get what you're saying.
But the thing is, with our people, we hear that script. That is Proverbs 31 is very popular.
What's
in Proverbs 31, the whole virtuous woman thing.
Right.
It's very popular in the Black Christian church. Very popular. I mean, a lot of and I'm coming from somebody who was a church musician, and I done played at gigs at church solely for that scripture. So a lot of people are pushed to think they need to be that woman, and then they pick and choose what they want out of it, for one. But then they walk out of there thinking, I'm a Proverbs 31 woman, but you not like that. But then the man that needs to have that woman, they already got their wall up because they know they girl just went to that conference and they think there's going to be a man bashing event. So they already help with the propaganda because it's not taught properly. If I'm going to be this type of woman, this is the type of man I need to have. So it's not a shooting in the foot to the man or the women. Y'all both need to step y'all shit up. To Ralik's point earlier about, oh, man ain't getting it like the woman needs to. That's a narrative that's pushed. But that might not even be a reality. Because you could go to certain places and see the black dollar resonating with both parties. But that's not what's being pushed. So the propaganda is in Christianity, which is a poor man religion, because they're already stealing your wealth building tools from you through tithes and offering. But that's a whole nother thing. So if I'm going to teach that you're a virtuous woman, but I'm already stealing your tithes and offering, and then if I'm a woman and my boyfriend's sitting here, he already got an attitude because all these scriptures is catering to the woman. Proverbs, she worth more than rubies. All the things that she was mentioning. He's just sitting there like, man, shit, man, this is bullshit, man. Ain't nothing really referencing him. Where there is points in there, but I never heard it. I was in the church over 20-something years. I never heard what the Proverbs 31, what the man need to do.
And I want to hear that before we leave, because we still ain't heard it yet.
Yeah, so
hold on. We're gonna,
and I hope you got it in there when they talk about her in the street and talk about him too.
Riley, any last words, my brother? Are we 2.5 hours in?
Nope.
No last word? All right, Deidre, send us off with the Proverbs, man.
So that's why when I started in the beginning, I said I couldn't find a lot of biblical references on the Proverbs man. But I did find things on what is a man of virtue and what does that mean. And that man is someone who is consistent. He is easily accessible to his wife and his community as far as being able to offer solutions. He's prompt and he does things from a joyful manner. He doesn't do things because he feels it's his responsibility and he has to take care of the kids. He finds joy in taking care of his kids. Going back to the same characteristics of a Proverbs woman: dignity, patience, diligence, generosity, courage, wisdom, and devotion. I think that could be across the board, male or female. And again, to not create further division, separating the Proverbs 31 woman from a Proverbs 31 man, we need to focus on being Proverbs 31 people. If we can all, like he said, self-reflection, self-correction, even self-concept, how you see yourself is important whenever you're trying to align with yourself with being virtuous or with being righteous. So
I like that.
I don't think it's hard. Relationships these days, you treat me how you want me to treat you, vice versa. We overcomplicate things, trying to specify all these gender roles and things like that. I do believe gender has a place. Genders have a place. Like you said, I don't think we need to be on the front line trying to shoot and carry our comrades off the safety and they twice our size and things like that. But as far as being in alignment with a partner who y'all strive to live similar lives, being in alignment, to me, that's the virtuous couple right there.
So Raleigh had one more thing. He changed his mind and threw my whole production off. But we'll watch it. We'll work it out.
That's all right.
Go ahead. What you got?
Oh, the teas.
Okay.
Hey,
Can you see him?
Yeah, so again,
Yeah.
about some of the teas that I offer the community, some soursop, some moringa and ginseng, hibiscus, elderberry. These are just offerings that I have because I genuinely want to see my people in health and wealth, because that's important. We can be healthy, but if we don't have the resources or
apple pie, bro. That's all I got.
then we might not get you said that apple pie.
It tastes like apple pie.
And it's actually good for you. The apple cider is a great metabolism booster for anybody who is interested in losing weight. It's a great detox tea.
Okay.
It makes you feel like you just had a great big old warm hug. Yeah, so yeah. Anybody interested in teas, y'all can find me on social media at Deidre Davis or Incense and Tings.
Facts. Yes, sir.
Get with Muddy Waters, Black Boone, and they know how to reach me. Put your orders in.
Yeah. Y'all trying to get y'all.
Blessings.
Y'all trying to learn your genealogy. Y'all can find me at Span Purnell on Instagram. I help you with your genealogy. Yeah, building a community. That's what it's about.
Blessings.
You said you wanted to promote our business?
Yeah, shout out. hey, y'all see the shirt? Shout out to Black Boom. Hell of an
I need a
artist.
shirt.
Man. They say artists only get their credit when they dead. Fuck that. He living. Y'all support. Shout out to Sanchez, that nigga, hell of a barber, hell of an editor, engineer. He got it all. He got the beats and get your cut right. Let's go.
And I appreciate you guys having me back for a second episode. I'm really having fun with you guys, getting a chance to an opportunity to explore different mindsets and personalities, and us being open to discuss these topics. I don't see a lot of platforms actually kind of bridging that gap with men and women. It's usually a bunch of men on a podcast talking about something, or a bunch of women on a podcast, and really not a lot of collaboration. So good job with doing that. I appreciate that.
We appreciate
it. Indeed. Hell yeah, indeed.
You talking to me?
Oh yeah, man. Y'all gotta get with Boone on these cookies that
Oh
he got.
my God. Those cookies.
I had to check my face and everything before we started. Cause I was over there in the bag just eating. She ain't got no chocolate chips.
Them cookies go crazy. Oh my God.
I feel like we're gonna be working together soon, even more on pulling together. We talked about some events, some vendor things going on, so that way, we can open it up so we can find out. We really do have everything in a community that we need.
They really outside. They really outside.
Yeah, they just really outside, and we have to make those connections. That way, we can get our communities back to being self-sufficient.
Indeed, facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
We're coming back to that time again.
Yeah, we there. We getting there.
Yeah, we're there. Things are turning around for the better. I see it day by day. There's more people awakening to different thought processes and possibilities, and we don't have to go with the norm or the general information that's been put out there that this is the way things are supposed to happen, because we have the power to change all of that with our minds.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Indeed.
So I encourage everybody to work on becoming a virtuous person this week. At least looking it up and seeing what small steps you can make to become your higher self for yourself, not just for anybody else, but for yourself.
Higher self for yourself.
For yourself, yeah. people don't have to change. I mean, you can't get anybody to change. People have to want to change
Right,
for
they wanna
themselves. So that's what I'm
And
saying.
they have to not want to be distracted by the distractions.
Right, that's distracting them
That's
for trying to
distracting you
become a
from
better
being-
person.
right,
Yeah,
right.
because they're out there.
Pay attention to the distractions, man. Like, share, and follow this video people on YouTube and Instagram. And I definitely appreciate y'all coming out, man.
Oh yeah, you
Thank
already
you,
know.
sir. Thank you,
already
sir.
know.
Once again, man.
Thank
Again,
you.
Miss
I
Lady.
appreciate it.
And we out, man.
Peace.